This isn't your average grocery store salami. At this small Seattle manufacturing center, one man is rethinking how cured meats should be made, from farm to slice. Saltblade is a handcrafted artisanal cured meats company specializing in small batches and unique flavors. Their meat is sourced from a local farm that focuses on raising animals sustainably. But to really understand Saltblade, you have to meet the person behind it. Meet Bob Blade, the founder and CEO of Saltblade. His journey may be one unconventional to most. He started his career with a degree in biomedical engineering and had worked for over a decade as a software engineer. What inspired this major shift towards entrepreneurship?
My food outlook had been fixed for a long time. I was already not satisfied with the way that grocery stores source their foods, the way that the feedlot systems work in the United States. There's so many things broken about our food system. So I was doing most of my shopping from people I knew who were raising their animals and farmers market shopping. So I knew the farmers I was buying from. So I was already of that mentality, and then I just wanted to go deeper into that. So I did a lot of reading, a lot of research on global food production issues, and it kept coming back to meat.
The vast majority of meat found in grocery stores isn't sustainably sourced. Why does that matter? Industrial meat production has a myriad of environmental repercussions. To name a few, impacts include massive water waste, the decline of biodiversity, and the degradation of natural resources. There are also major ethical concerns regarding the treatment of animals on high-density farms. Together, these environmental and ethical costs threaten the long-term future of the meat industry itself, making it harder for future farms to succeed and putting the next generations at risk.
I had just gotten my USDA approval and I was ready to start producing, but I couldn't find meat. So I went down to the farmer's market and met Brent Olson at his booth at the Ballard Farmers Market. And I'd bought from him before, but I didn't know him personally. And so I asked him, can you get me, I was asking for very little, 25 pounds of meat, I think. And he was like, yes. And I was like, oh my God, I can start my business now. and I didn't know how lucky I was. The Olson family is absolutely fantastic.
So, how did Bob turn this passion for food sustainability into a business?
I thought the market was so ripe and ready for a salami maker who had my ethos, my passion for the sourcing and everything, and yet nobody had.
Bob's interest in meat led him to test dozens of batches across nearly every type of processed meat product imaginable. But one batch stood out.
When I first made a batch of the flavor that's called uraton, which is a traditional Balinese style salami. So that one spurred me on into selling because I was like, the world has to taste this right away.
From there on, Bob was committed to cured meats.
The dry cured products were the ones that perhaps had the most viability in the marketplace. And if I wasn't going to sell a viable product, I wasn't going to be able to fulfill my mission of supporting the animals and the farm-raised animals. So
eventually, he settled on salami.
The nice thing about salami is it's all shelf stable, so I didn't need cold storage, I didn't need cold chain distribution and farmers markets with ice packs and everything. So having one type of product and using a single HACCP plan made my life much easier. So I decided to focus straight in on salami only.
So, how are these delicious dried meats made? It all starts at Bob's small-scale manufacturing facility in Seattle.
Monday is normally a slicing day and grinding. The next step is we mix in the spices that we want. So we measure out all the spices we want to put in and liquid additions. And we add in our lactic acid producing bacterial cultures at that time.
Unlike most cured meats in grocery stores, Bob's salami contains no added nitrates or nitrites, not even the so-called natural kind from celery salts. All of these are commonly used as preservatives.
I personally have no problem with nitrates. And I used to use them for the first 7-8 years I was producing. And my big thing that I really despise is the term uncured in the market and the use of celery salt. And they put the words no added nitrites on there, but there's always an asterisk because they say except that naturally occurring in celery salt. Well, those are much, much higher in nitrites than the measured amounts of nitrites I would use. So the finished products, though they say uncured, they're actually cured products that have a far higher content of residual nitrite than anything I ever made.
Once the mixture is ready, the salami is meticulously stuffed and linked. Links are then carefully hung in a controlled curing chamber, with moisture and temperature controls. The salami is monitored over the course of fermentation, and once the meat is fully cured, it is ready to be packaged and sold. Saltblade's flavors aren't just unique. They're deeply personal, globally inspired, and rooted in a mission of ethical sourcing. His first salami, urutan, stands out as his signature Balinese-style salami, inspired by traditional Indonesian flavors.
There are some recipes for urutan in some of the books that most people who do this type of thing would have in their home catalog, but they're terrible recipes. So I was researching it and really scouring the internet trying to find more about it because it's kind of an obscure topic. And I found a Journal of Biomedical Engineering article written about urutan, and they were analyzing it to see what was making it safe to eat. But in the course of this, they figured out that the bacterial cultures that we use were kind of naturally occurring in that hot and humid environment down there. And in the course of that article, they made a batch, inoculated it, and taste compared it to the original ones. And so they printed a recipe in paragraph form that contained all fresh ingredients instead of all the various terrible dried ingredients. And that became my original recipe for urutan.
So, how do these flavors find their way into the hands of customers? Well, products are sold online, in farmers markets, and through wholesale partners. However, even after winning the 2024 Good Food Award, the long-term impact is hard to track, especially in a market where growth takes time. Like any small business, Saltblade's journey hasn't always been smooth.
And then 22 and 23, support for small businesses seemed to be going away as recovery from COVID was happening. So they were actually more challenging times than COVID itself. But 20 was still a great year of growth for us, actually, because people really came out to support small businesses, and 21 as well.
Despite these troubles, the future is looking bright for this Seattle small business. So, what's next for Saltblade?
I'd love to just see more steady growth on the wholesale side. That's the side of the business I'd really like to accelerate the growth in. So getting into more accounts, more mom and pop stores across the country, a few more of the bigger chains that source properly as well. But really, other than that, I feel like we're in a pretty good place. So I'm not trying to rock the boat too much, but just let it grow organically from where we're at right now.